concerned. He was glad. He was glad that Jesus came to his rescue. And so he decided he wanted to go with Jesus. Don't you want to go with Jesus? Where Jesus is, where Jesus leads me, I will follow. I'll go with him all the way. So the man decided that he wanted to go with Jesus and be wherever Jesus was. But Jesus told him, no, I tell you, I got something better for you to do. You just be a spectator. There's nothing for you to do when you're with Jesus. Everything, everybody is well taken care of. The disciples have a job. They worked about a job. When they were with Jesus, Jesus would provide. So this man knew that he would be with Jesus. He wouldn't have to worry about nothing. But Jesus was going to see to it that now I got something I want you to do. You could tell somebody about your dilemma and how God rescued you out of your dilemma. Whatever dilemma that you're facing in life, whatever you're going through, take it to Jesus. Let Jesus handle the problem. So there's people that saw Jesus when he got on the boat and they knew he had to come back. Had come back to where he was. So decided that they were waiting for him. Verse 40 came to pass that when Jesus would return, the people gladly received him. Can you imagine the reception that Jesus gave Jesus? They were waiting for him. And to be with Jesus is a joyful experience. We can imagine, you can read a lot of things into that particular 40th verse. What went on when they received Jesus? I'm sure it was a joyful occasion. If there was any needs to be met, Jesus will supply all of the needs. Paul says, for my God will supply all of your needs according to his riches and glory. What is it that you want from Jesus? We want to think about the joy of receiving Jesus. We're going to look at the best experience we have. Salvation. Salvation is the best experience that you can have. The joy of salvation. How can you describe it? When Jesus comes into your life is changed. There's nothing the same. I'm so glad I met Jesus. When I met Jesus, I found my life was changed. I was a little boy when I heard about Jesus. And when I went to Sunday school, they taught us about the love of Jesus. I was a little boy, and nobody had ever expressed to me that they loved me. But I remember singing that song, Yes, Jesus loved me. Yes, Jesus loved me. For the Bible tells me so. What a wonderful experience of the Lord boy. Again, to realize that Jesus loved me. So Jesus, the disciples knew what it was like. They already was with Jesus. They were with Jesus when their people came and waited for Jesus. They saw how joyful it was to be with Jesus. The disciples knew what it was to be with Jesus. And when they was with Jesus, oh, how wonderful it was to be with Jesus. When they were with Jesus, they had the wonderful miracles that they could tell us about. Just letting us know what Jesus could mean to a person's life. Will you meet him? You can meet him at the synagogue. Go to church. You can meet him at church. When the word is read, listen to the word. What the word says about him. You can develop a relationship by listening to what the word said. Peter was the one that he was outspoken. He was the one that could tell you the experience that when he was with Jesus. Best experience was that he began to tell them, say, now Jesus, we left everything to follow you. We left our jobs, fishing business. We came now to follow you. We want to know what you got. What you gonna do for us? What you gonna do for us? Jesus let you know now, full-time mission, you heard about the missionaries. They want to be a full-time missionary. They get the job, and my nephew, I was amazed at my nephew. He went over to the Philippines. He was stationed over there when he was in the Air Force. And so as he got out of high school, and he went after he graduated, he went to a Bible college somewhere in Michigan somewhere, and so he got acquainted. The church where he was, he decided he wanted to be a missionary. So right today he got his support, and they gave him the support. Over in the Philippines now, we get the newsletters. He sent us a newsletter every now and then to let you know what the Lord is doing with his life at the Philippines. So he's been over there about 16 years or so. It don't look like he's coming home. But the fact is that he's got caught up being a missionary to the Philippines. So, but it takes a person at heart. But Jesus look at how Peter was concerned. Peter was a married man. He had a wife. So I don't know what his wife was saying when the disciples decided that they would leave and go with Jesus. You know what Jesus said? Follow me, and I'll make you fishers of men. Now, I don't know what Peter would have told his wife. I don't know what he said to the wife. But that, somehow he must have convinced her that I'm going to go with Jesus. You know the song, where he leads me, I'll follow. I'll go with him all the way. So Peter looked at one thing. All the while that he had been with Jesus, what did he need? But just to say that the livelihood. But Jesus has something for you. If you are so determined that you want to follow Jesus, if you don't want to work for Jesus, the relationship that you have with Jesus is looking for you. He's looking for you because he said, go into the Father's vineyard. But the labor's great, but the laborers are few. So Jesus, Peter was being the spokesman and the person that he was, and I thank God for Peter. And I think we should really have the nerve. What do you want from the Lord? Paul was a missionary. What prompted Paul to when he met Jesus on the Damascus Road? Now here is some. Look at Peter, and you find both of the personalities in the book of Acts. Jesus called Peter first, and I'm sure somewhere along the way, Paul must have been listening or read something about what Peter did. So, but Paul was going to school. His name was Saul. He was going to college. He was a college young man. He said while he was learning at the feet of Gamaliel. And we're going to find out what it was that how God convinced him. If you want to go with Jesus, look what Jesus has to offer us. Look at what he has to offer. And here's what he said, now, what is it? He said, Jesus said to Peter, I say unto you that ye have which have followed me. We are followers. Before we were called Christians, but we were called followers of Jesus, followers of Christ. So at this point, the disciples were followers of Christ. They were not called Christians. Look at the 28th verse, 19:28. They were not called Christians. They were followers. They said, verily I say unto you, this is what Jesus said, ye have followed me in this regeneration, this life. You followed me. And because you have done this, you should sit on the throne, of His glory. It's when He sat on the throne of His glory. You should also sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. Look at the sacrifice. Look at what's going to be made. What God Jesus is going to do to it. See to it that you're not going to have anything lacking from making the sacrifice. No, more than anything, you will have no layoff. Jesus, full employment, when you follow Jesus full time, you get full benefit. Jesus letting you know, I'm going to let you're going to have full benefit. And this, I'm going to see to it that whatever you need in this life, you don't have to worry. I'm going to provide. That's what we're going to get through. That's what Paul's going to learn this lesson. He said, now, when you, and so after this now, going down to 29. So he let Peter know, everyone that has forsaken houses, or brother, or sisters, or father, or mother, or wife, or children, or lands for my name's sake shall receive an hundredfold, and shall inherit everlasting life. So the best is yet to come. Better than what you have here on earth. Now let's get into Paul. Paul was a young man. He persecuted the church. His job was, he was a Pharisee of the Pharisees. The Pharisees had hired him. Oh, he was the golden boy of the Pharisees. He was tutored. They looked up at this young man. This young man was so brilliant. Young man was so brilliant that they invested into him, and while he was in the Pharisee, say he was got up to the high peak of prestige, of rank, of privilege in the Pharisee. So when what happened that when they decided to step out, the Christian and the followers of Christ, who did they look to? These young men. You know, they tried to get rid of Jesus. They tried to get rid of Jesus, but they could not get rid of Jesus. Jesus was crucified. But yet, Jesus was able to let them know that in spite of my crucified, I want to tell you, have you lost your joy? Don't lose your joy. Circumstances. What the disciples found out that when Jesus was crucified, that Jesus wanted them to remain